One of the great things about filming on an iPod is that there is no storage on this thing, so sorry if the angle and lighting changes between shots. I have no idea what I'm doing. So, this is going to seem a little bit different than normal for obvious reasons, because this isn't a speed paint. It will be in a bit. I have got some drawing to do later in this video, but the reason I'm opening it with this setup is because, one, I started this channel with the intent of doing sort of vloggy content like this where I could, and also because this channel has recently reached 10,000 subscribers, which is freaking awesome, so thank you so much. I say that every time we hit a milestone, because I mean it is really cool to have so many people coming here, seeing my content, seeing the stuff I draw and liking it. It's been really cool. But yeah, for this video I wanted to do something that I have done before. I've done character redraws, like redraws of some of my old art. I've got like 2 of them on here I think so far, and I want to do something a bit similar to that with this one, just because, you know, it's nice to see the development that you can sort of achieve, I guess, because I've been drawing since I was like 8 years old, and I'm turning 20 this month actually, which is really weird. But yeah, I thought it would be nice to do something. I don't know, I had something to say here. It's probably words. So instead of ones that I've had on my DeviantArt, I have delved into the depths of my stack of papers that I have, because I keep all of my old art that I think I can sort of look back on and check the development against, sort of cross-reference myself against myself art-wise, because it is good to sort of just acknowledge like, oh, you know, I've come a pretty far way. I've managed to find a folder, I'll just grab it, a folder which has a whole bunch of my super old drawings in it from when I was like 11 years old, thereabouts, so hopefully I can find something in here that I can rework and turn into something, you know, in my current style, and I think that'll be a bit of fun. Let's have a look. I nearly dropped it. So I haven't actually found any papers yet, but I found a nice one-piece folder, so I can use that. That's great. Oh my god, I have so many things in here. Okay, I might cut out, like, have a jump cut here or something. Future Alex, do some editing. I'm gonna have to have like a jump cut here just because there is a lot of paper in here, and I think I'll save you guys the trouble and just find something decent, debatable, and then we'll get back to it. Oh my god. Okay, I found I found something. So when I was, let me check the date on this. Yeah, this is from like 2009, the stuff I've just found. Obviously it's 2017 now, August 2017. I drew these in like June 2009, so again, super old. So for context sake, these, like, disclaimer, these are from like the phase I think every artist has where they draw a bunch of characters with animal ears and features and think this is so edgy and cool and unique, and these ones, basically it was just a whole bunch of, again, like animal featured characters. You know what, I don't think I can explain it any better than that. There was like no further context to it. They were just like animal characters with a bunch of different weapons who I think maybe fought each other, I don't know, but in any case. So with these ones, it starts off, it's not too bad. The first one is this. It's got like a bunch of animal people on it, like I said before. And they're not too bad. They're not good, but I kind of like the design of the rabbit girl. She's pretty alright. I'm just gonna have to like rifle through and try and find a character that I like, and I might try and redraw them. That might be the way this goes. But it's fun to just look at these and be like, what the f am I doing? Am I gonna have to censor this out? I don't know if I'm going for PG with this. I might have to put in bleeping noises whenever I swear. There's gonna be a lot of bleeping noises. The next page is a wolf guy, I think. He looks like a pirate of some description. And then a fox guy and his brother. He looks kind of like Mokuba if Mokuba was ginger, like from Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because it's like that younger brother with massive hair. I think the fox guy has a sword. You know what, they're okay, they're okay. Oh, well, I say as I turn onto the page where I clearly gave up on giving it any kind of quality. It barely had quality before, but one thing that you can do with analysing your own old art from when you were, you know, I won't say from when you were terrible, but from when you're still learning, is that you can just go ham on all of the shit aspects and you know you won't be upsetting anyone because you're talking about yourself. Why do all of these guys have one eye showing? Literally Every single one just has one eye showing and a fringe covering their other eye. I know why, because that's the classic technique to get out of trying to balance a face. Oh, that's so bad. The outfits as well. I've just got a comment on that. The outfits, it's like you'd think, or well, you wouldn't think, but nowadays in terms of character design, I always try and design outfits that reflect the characters and what they do, as would any character designer. F***ing no fucks given when I made these. They're just in there like, you know, oh, we're going to the shops, like standard outfits. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to fix that. Okay, skip forward to another one. Is this from the same year even? Is this from the same year? The stack of papers from before, I think must be from like maybe 2 years before these ones I'm about to have a look through. So these ones I think are redesigns. They're not better. I don't know if I thought I was fixing them or what. I think it'll be quite evident to tell that the style of the drawings have changed quite dramatically between the first set and these set. I think at this point in my life I drew on lined paper notepads directly with biro and nothing else. So there's so many mistakes in here that I just sort of added parts to make it look like it was intentional, and it didn't work. In truth, I like the designs of the original ones a lot better. Like the rabbit one, she looked a lot cooler when I drew it at first. Same with the sheep. This sheep person could just be anybody now. I like the shawl that the other one had, that was pretty cool. And the panda one, I mean, she looks pretty much the same, but she's got dark hair now in this for some reason. I don't know, I kind of like her hoodie better, but it's debatable. It's debatable, as with most of the content of this video. The one I really wanted to look at though from this set of redraws is the wolf guy from earlier, because what is happening in this picture? For a start, because there are so many things I want to tear into this picture over, hands on a character should typically be about roughly the size of the face. That is not happening here. Besides which, I don't know what this war paint is he's got going on. There's no need for it. I'm probably gonna fix that, or at least make it more painty rather than like just a triangle sticker on his face in the redraw. Also, you know, I don't do archery, and I didn't do archery when I drew this, which I think makes itself very evident, because that is not how you draw a bow. That is terrible. I think one issue with art from people who are starting out, you need to draw from references. You really do, because otherwise this happens. You know, at the time that I drew this, I loved it. I was so proud of it. I was like, hell yeah. But, you know, looking back, there's a lot that could be, you know, done better, and hopefully will do better, because I think we found a winner for pictures that need fixing, so we're gonna... I'm so sorry to this dude, like, can't be easy living with your legs a foot apart from where your torso is. So I'm gonna hop on and start trying to redraw that from scratch. I'll try and get a scan of that, get it up as my reference for the drawing. But yeah, I'm gonna make a start. Let's get to it. So, before I got onto the actual redesigning part, I had to get a pose down for the character. Obviously I wanted something a bit more dynamic than him awkwardly standing there like he was in the original version, so I got up a couple of pictures of Hawkeye from the Avengers, and I just sort of took inspiration from them and worked it into a pose that I ended up quite liking, actually. I kind of like him sort of firing his arrow off into the distance like that, so this served for a good base to start building his new look on. In terms of creating his new sort of appearance, I wanted to draw, obviously, reference from the original version, so that sort of lots of blue tones, the obvious wolf ears, and stuff like that, the bow and arrows. But mostly, instead of making it a straight-up redraw, I wanted to highlight elements of it that I did like and turn it into something that suits my modern style a bit better in terms of the character design itself. So that meant making him a little bit less piratey, and yeah, just turning him into something a bit more modern, a bit sort of Metal Gear it ended up being. Further elements of the redesign, I had to get rid of his emo hair, so I ended up pulling it back into a ponytail, actually making his bandana effective for keeping his hair out of his eyes, so he's got 2 eyes in this one, which is a great improvement, I think. One thing that I will say in regards to character design, especially if you're revamping characters, you're always going to want to think of the practicality of what they're wearing and then just sort of go from there. So obviously before he had that whole pirate get-up, he had like a long coat, bandana that did nothing to get his fringe out of his face, really long like business trousers it looked like, so not very practical in a combat situation, so I tried to make him more military focused here. Short sleeves, tactical trousers, they've got knee pads, I'm going to call them tactical trousers, and a headband that actually keeps his hair out of his eyes so that he can fire properly. Whenever I'm designing characters, I always find it important to think of if I was doing what they're doing and wearing what they're wearing, would it work? Would it be practical, or would it be a hindrance and get in the way? That's something that I think helps if you want to draw your designs back from something a bit too, I don't know, a bit too extra, I guess. I can't think of a better phrase. But just if you have a character that's going to be like this one, if they're in a combat situation and they're covered in frills, bells and whistles, all of this stuff, then it's 9 times out of 10 it's going to get in the way, unless they're like a magical girl or something, then it's a bit more excusable. Basically just sort of take a step back when you're drawing and just think, oh, would this be practical or would it get in the way? And then that is a good basis to try and sort of build a more believable character design, I think. For the colours, I ended up picking them directly from the original drawing of this character, the one that looked a bit more piratey, because I did want to incorporate that sort of blue colour scheme. I sort of lowered the saturation of the reds in it though, just because they were a bit too bright. There's one thing I will say about a lot of beginner artists' works, myself included obviously, is that they tend to go for a lot of brighter colours. Again, this isn't the case for everybody, but it is quite commonplace. You'll go for the brightest colour in the palette, and the way to get colours right, well, not to get them right, there's no right or wrong really, but a way to get them a bit less strong for the eye is to just drag them a little bit towards the grey side of the palette, and then it just sort of calms them down a bit. It makes them a bit easier to look at, and they all sort of blend together a bit better as well in terms of the overall composition. So there's something to bear in mind, just so that you don't have like luminous reds, greens, yellows, all of this stuff all incorporated into one picture, because that can get a bit of an eyesore. Another element of the colours that I wanted to go for was, while keeping the blues, I didn't want it to all be that sort of monotone blue, because in the original drawing I only had the one blue pen. So I used the brightest blue for his hair, just to make it sort of give it more character. And then the rest of his outfit I used sort of darker, more blacky grey shades of blue, and then it made it look more like a sensible outfit, but while still keeping his sort of blue colour scheme. I kept the red headband, but again I desaturated it some so that it wouldn't stand out too brightly compared to his hair. In terms of the setting I drew him in, I wanted to put him somewhere that would reflect his sort of personality and what he was sort of getting up to. This is all sort of improv, I just drew this on the fly, but I figured like, he's a wolf person, you know, he'll probably be in a forest, and because he's doing his sort of military look, archery and whatever, he might be on a mission there. You know, you don't have to think too far into it, just sort of give a character a background that sort of reflects them, or a setting that sort of reflects what they're doing, and it can help build character to some degree, or give an image a story. So that is something that I would recommend, just sort of block in a vague background, and then if you want to put the details in later, you can, but as you can see here, it's not mandatory, especially if you're going for like a photo focus kind of thing. You can blur the background later and bring the character in the foreground sort of more into focus, and that's an effect I use quite a lot because it saves me from doing detailed backgrounds, so that's quite nice. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say on this one, so let's have a look at the final product. So yeah, I think it's suffice to say he's come a long way since 2009. If anybody has any suggestions for other videos like this they might like to see, or if any suggestions for other content you might want to see talked about, anything like that, I'd love to hear it, because as I mentioned at the start, I don't know what the heck I'm doing with this, so any suggestions are more than welcome. In the meantime though, thank you so much for tuning in, thank you so much again for 10,000 subscribers, that is absolutely crazy, and I will hopefully see you for the next video. Peace out. Also, while I was trying to find this folder, I found a pack of Avengers temporary tattoos.